better tagline if you can think about it.
So I guess if anyone has any questions to kick us off.
Well, Matt, you sent something through the email. Did you want to?
What did I send? Remind me. Oh, a sort of list of talking points. Did I?
I think you
I
did.
was like, yeah, that was it.
It was Matt was a very professional email about this panel. All three of us had to come up with something, and Matt bit the bullet on that one.
No, I mean, it's not. I don't want to do anything too structured, but did anyone have any leftover questions that didn't get answered by either? Yes, so let's kick off.
On the sort of subject of the fan coin.
Yeah.
Someone was sort of asking about kind of how does artists make money with this?
Yeah.
And for the most part, what you described was a way for the artist to market, that they can use this. And correct me if I'm wrong, but my way of thinking about it is that there are artists now, say Beyonce, you join their fan club, you get emailed code so that you can buy tickets to a concert pre-sale. That's worth money. If you can buy a Beyonce ticket before anybody else, you could resell it. It's worth money to say a reseller, for example. So you can imagine a hard value of having joined her fan club. So that's the way I'm looking at this: is you distribute that money, people earn it not by just joining a fan club, but by sharing videos and everything else. And if I now hold, if she then decides, if you have 1,000 Beyonce coins, that's worth pre-sale code. So now there's a value attached to that by the market for buying tickets for concerts. And it kind of sets a value for those coins for everything else, right?
So just to quickly answer that, so we will never take the role of like an agency. Like we're not going to tell Beyonce what to do with Beyonce coin if she wants to work with us. But yeah, initially she's going to say, hey, I think Beyonce coin is maybe worth this much, and the market is either going to tell her no or yes. And then from there, right, we'll create sort of the infrastructure, the rails, the PayPal for sort of this to happen. But yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it. Initially, this is just a whole thing about my view on blockchain in general is like a lot of the people that are going to win, they're not going to find ways to disrupt the dollar. They're going to find ways to complement it. So like buying Beyonce ticket in dollars is working great. Like she has that on lock. But if you can use Beyonce coin as a way to reward people for doing it early or within a span of time, that's a great way to sort of use it, right? So a more narrow way to provide social value in her world. And just my personal view, like I think the days of like creating like being a Beyonce star are kind of over in a way. Like you need to do a lot of different things now if you're an up and coming artist, and a lot of those things I think revolve around like the social space, so we're trying to complement that with an individual. Like, does it make sense for a digital artist to have a digital currency? So we think the answer is yes there.
Like if you joined Beyonce's fan club, the first 1,000 people to join, you should be maybe in our system rewarded more than the last 1,000,000th person to join, because you've helped promote Beyonce, you've told a lot of people, you've shared a lot of, that's value. So kind of, I think ideally that if you had Beyonce coin early, it would be better, right? If you're an early adopter of Beyonce coin, first 1,000, you might be sitting pretty.
I think that's the way to think about all of these tokens and altcoins, is that it is a step beyond pure financial value. Yes, the common sort of complaint is, or query is more, Bitcoin's not worth anything because you can't hold it, right? But something only has value, it's up to what somebody else is willing to pay for it, right? So, these tokens go beyond pure financial value and into things like access, early access, discounts on certain things. And like the way I like to, it forms in my head is comparing it to, I don't know if you have Dave and Buster's down here, is that US wide thing? Yeah. Dave & Buster's, like you go into Dave & Buster's and you give over $30 and you get a card that maybe has like $35 worth of Dave & Buster's credit on it. And the more that you pay $50 and you might get $60 worth of credit. That little card only has value within this network, which is a Dave & Buster's, right? So these altcoins I kind of relate them directly back to this concept. It's the same concept as points on your credit cards. Those points, really, they have no real value. You take them out of the dashboard of your credit card portal or whatever it is. They have no value, right? I mean, you can't take them out. Imagine if you could take out your 1,000 Chase points or whatever. But in that network, within Chase or whatever
Who says they're valuable? Chase says they're valuable.
Chase says they're valuable, but now we're seeing. Imagine if you could take those points out and somebody else gives them value. You can buy, not just get $30 off your next holiday through the Chase portal. You can sell them to somebody. So I think it's that beyond financial value and the ability to pass these tokens, these assets between, a network of interested.
And it's not all about value. Like when I did the Can't Smoke a Bitcoin token, I said it's worth nothing. It's literally just a blockchain trophy. And your wallet is visible to everybody that wants to look at it on a block explorer. It's like a database that everybody can visualize and see. So if you own the Can't Smoke a Bitcoin token, then what that says to people that know about Can't Smoke a Bitcoin token, it means that you shared Jay Skrilla's video, Can't Smoke a Bitcoin, and you were one of the early adopters of that. So it's basically like a skin. Like if you look at like Fortnite or something, your kids, or maybe you, are paying money for V-Bucks and stuff, and you're getting the skin in there. It's the same thing. I'm showing you, this is a skin on the internet that you supported my skin in the art game. So it's the same thing. Now, with that said, there's been a secondary market created off Can't Smoke a Bitcoin on a decentralized exchange that I can't control. So people are buying and selling these. So now the market is saying that these tokens are actually worth 45 cents. So
you mentioned Block Explorer. That's something anyone just getting into blockchain or interested about, I would check out a Block Explorer. There are a few. What's Etherscan's the Ethereum one?
Etherscan. There's
and there's one
Xchain.io. There's a bunch.
But basically, a Block Explorer just shows you all the transactions on a blockchain. So remember, a blockchain is a publicly available database or spreadsheet, really, of records, and these records can be seen by anyone. So what people do with the Block Explorer is essentially just show you that data, so you can see that I gave Skrilla here X number of Bitcoin, and some people are taking that data and making it visual, which is kind of cool. I found that really useful because I'm a visual person, to see. There's one, I forget the URL, but you'll see literal blocks fall down. It's like this transaction just happened, and it's like blocks, 3D graphics, and you can click into it and see how much Bitcoin was sent from where and to who. It's a really good way to get into blockchain, I found, anyway.
So a big counter argument I've heard against Bitcoin, I'm super pro cryptocurrency, pro blockchain, but I think an argument that's valid against Bitcoin is that it is a huge energy suck. What are your guys' thoughts on
this? Is a huge energy suck, what we're doing right now. Right? But we're learning and we're getting information.
Yeah, so if the way Bitcoin works is people need to agree that I gave Skrilla a certain amount of Bitcoin, and the people that verify those transactions, they're called miners. And what that means is they're exhausting a lot of energy, a lot of computing power to verify that I indeed did give Skrilla some Bitcoin. As Bitcoin as a currency became more valuable, it required a lot more energy to mine Bitcoin, to verify those transactions. There's a really interesting story in the New York Times about a huge Chinese factory just filled to the roof with hard drives that were exhausted. everyone is trying to sort of mine Bitcoin. It's pretty crazy. So that way of verifying transactions is called proof of work. So if you Google proof of work, that's what that means. Proof of work.
Proof of work versus proof of stake is quite a useful
Yeah.
phrase, because then you get the comparison. as
Proof
well.
of stake is kind of like now, like if you have money, you get to make the rules. Like who has the most money makes the rules, right? It's the same thing on the blockchain. Proof of stake system, the people with the most tokens are like the governance, they're the system, they get the voting rights and stuff, which not too much different. I don't know. Proof of work is kind of where I'm more of a proof of work guy, so I don't buy the energy thing.
Would they have proof of capacity also?
I got proof of a lot of things.
You could literally make up a proof right now. Like, there's a lot
Storage coin
of.
is a coin that's supposed to.
Sure,
yeah.
yeah.
Remember.
Right.
So they take your hard drive space and you can mine using.
Yeah,
Right.
they're like a cloud storage base. There's a few like Filecoin and Storagecoin and Siacoin, etc. And they kind of are going up against Amazon AWS. For the most part, I think Amazon's cheaper, but what that does with these coins that you're talking about, storage coins, is you can store anything without Amazon's or whatever country is more lenient and what you can store. So, and what I'm trying to say is basically stuff that's regulated. Like Amazon is a better solution to store. Stuff that's, and this is my opinion, stuff that's maybe regulated that you want to store that you can't store with AWS, then it's more beneficial, and so you're going to pay that premium. And you get paid to store it, use your computer hardware space. But I think people have done the math so far, at least, unless you guys want to say I'm wrong, but I think AWS is still the best cloud. But again, that's a single point of failure. So that's kind of where the blockchain is that, you know, if you store it across multiple areas, the problem with that is that literally it costs more to do that. But that's the whole thing about blockchain. You're kind of paying to be non-centralized. You're paying for the security amongst all your peers. And, you know, the central point of failure is a lot of reason that blockchain is here, because of so many problems with, you know, first central bank happened in 2008 crisis. There's been a lot of stuff, obviously. You look at Facebook and Twitter and stuff going on now. So central point of access is a big thing that blockchain solves.
And no one really knows where this is going to go. Just like, and you may read about all this stuff online, and people are going to say Bitcoin is going to be worth this or it's going to be worth that. Like in 2010, someone paid 10,000 Bitcoins for a Papa John pizza. So that was the equivalent of $24 back then. That's now a $60 million pizza, according to the price now. So just to give you an idea, right? No one knows where this is going to go. We're just proposing some ideas and things that we think may work, and
At the same time, I also think that we're at, with any new technology or adoption of a new technology, you see the same graph kind of happen where, it starts off as this niche thing, not many people are interested in it, and a few people working on something good. Okay, somebody starts making money, more people get interested, and then what happened last year, just before Christmas, we had this huge peak where it went to, Bitcoin was 20,000.
It went up like 20 times.
What was Ether? It was whatever, $5,000. And then you just get this slew of terrible money-making, bad projects that inevitably fail, and the downside of that is interest goes down. But then every single time you look at over the course of history, any kind of new technology, internet included, think about the dot-com bubble, you have this sort of path to enlightenment part of the graph, and that's where we are now, I think, where the legitimate projects are coming to the fore, the real life applications, all the speculators are kind of being figured out now. There's a lot of talk about large investors manipulating the market and all that kind of stuff, but the regulations coming in, it's being better understood by more people, and so I really do think we're in that curve back up where the real good stuff is going to start to come out, and it's not all, just buy Bitcoin because it's going to go up next year, it'll be worth 10 times as much.
So just to kind of add on to that, just to ask, like, where y'all think this is going to go, because one thing that I'm seeing is it's difficult for the link. I can't explain Bitcoin or blockchain technologies to my mom very well. She's just not going to understand. So how is it that we can get over the hump from where we are right now to where we need to be, where it just happens in the background, where people just don't even know that
It's happening now.
The number one roadblock is user experience in my mind. User experience is the key, because back at internet came around, I couldn't understand what the internet. I could probably explain rather what the internet was, but suddenly you have all these applications that get grandma on the internet, and she understands what email is through doing it. She understands what a mouse was because it was obvious that you moved it with your hand. These things need to be applied to the blockchain. Same thing, same deal. Any technology that is behind it, like I couldn't explain. I mean, maybe I could, but it would take me hours to explain how the internet worked. You know what I mean? And same thing for blockchain. It's like it's easy to get too bogged down with how it works behind the scenes. And yes, it's super important to understand that, but the key to adoption is going to be, to me, user experience. There's a few companies that are doing really good things in that respect. I think Coinbase is getting there. That's still a pain in the ass to get on their platform, but it's a good entry point to crypto, because it introduces the concept of a wallet, of buying currency, of seeing it go up and down. There's another company called Consensus, which is one of the biggest sort of proponents of Ethereum. In fact, they're part of the founders of Ethereum, kind of split off in two directions. One went very, he started the Ethereum Foundation, the other guy went in a business direction, Consensus. So they're sort of a venture capital. It's funny because last year because of their venture capital fund is in Ether, it sort of quadrupled in a day. so suddenly they were like, billionaires and could put money into everywhere. But anyway, they're doing really good stuff in the user experience part. They launched Token Foundry, which is a really good way to get into alt tokens. It's called the Token Foundry. And the user experience, you start to get it. You're like, okay, I've got a token, it goes into my wallet. These things are like...
Yeah, that's the best way is to learn and play with this stuff. Yeah. It is the best way to learn about it. You'll make mistakes and it won't be very costly right now.
Question. So I know we're talking a lot more about cryptocurrency, but in terms of blockchain, I think you guys touched on it for a moment when you were talking about like digital servers with AWS, and now we have that central point of data where you can have a point of failure versus having spread the wealth around. What are other areas that you're seeing that's being utilized, especially in relation to the music industry, to where you say, this is going to help do this a lot better. This is going to, if we use blockchain technology to solve these problems, this is why it's better than going down the normal path of doing it.
You mean features of blockchain that would benefit the music industry?
Yeah, because I think we're talking more about cryptocurrency, but just in terms of the blockchain technology itself, the utilitarian part of it, how is there ways that this can help get better technology than what we're using now currently?
The easiest answer for me is smart contract.
Okay.
Exactly.
And instant payout. I mean, that's the best thing right now. As easy as actually happening. So that's a use case that's there. It's going to get built on, make it expanded.
So, but isn't the other side of that though, like with a smart contract, you're still dealing with cryptocurrency on the other side, right? So you're not completely just dealing with just the blockchain as a technology. You're now having to deal with how much stuff costs on this.
Smart contracts are just self-executing pieces of code, and they're run, the gas or the way that they're run is through Ether on the Ethereum blockchain. But you could lock up cash, dollars in a smart contract, so you can create a DRM system where you have a song. The payouts can be in cash. They don't need to be in some magical internet
So
money.
it doesn't have to be, right, it doesn't have to be in Ether, because I think that's kind of one of the challenges. It's like, I mean, y'all kind of touched on it a little bit. I thought it was interesting is, converting it from one value to the next, but thinking about it kind of that. But I thought his question was really interesting, just sort of what are some of those other applications with blockchain that are outside of any, monetary anything at all?
One idea that I don't think anyone's, Skrilla touched on it very briefly, but I'm really excited about is the ERC 721, the non-fungible tokens. And so forgive the jargon, but essentially what that means is that the difference between a non-fungible token and a fungible token is that, let's say like Bitcoin is a fungible currency in that, you know, there's millions and millions of Bitcoin and they're all the same as each other, right?
Unless you use it on Coinbase.
Correct. With marked bills. A non-fungible token is like numbering Bitcoin, if that makes sense. So saying this is Bitcoin number 1, this is Bitcoin number 2. Now think about how valuable Bitcoin number 1 would be, you know, the very first Bitcoin. So I'm personally very excited about the implications of that to the music industry. You're talking about like having, you know, originals on blockchain. I think that's cool. I think, you know, collectibles on blockchain that the artists can give out, can sell, can monetize in various ways. You know, marking their releases. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing to me, other than the smart contract too, is the NFT, the art, the one-of-one tokenization thing that you can do. You know, you're making a one-of-one unique figure. You can lock it, you can lock the issues, you can make it divisible. You can do a lot of different things on, you know, you can do this on Ethereum, you can do this on Counterparty, you can do this on other blockchains that are coming up. And it's not unlike any other token, and it's provable. So like, Topps baseball cards just launched a series of digital rare trading cards. Prior, I was a baseball card collector in my youth, and I know that when I collected cards, if I was looking for like a rare card or something, like I didn't know how many were out there. Beckett Monthly, the price guy would tell me some things. Topps would tell me some things, like there was only this many cards in there and stuff, but I didn't know how many sets there were. I didn't know when you issued the second series in August that there was a limited run. They tell you these things, and etc. But with the blockchain, it's right there. Like I can say, okay, how many of this card is there, and where is it? How many holders of this card are there right now? What's the last price somebody paid for this card? What's the average median price? How many? I mean, I can see all the hands has changed. That's very valuable, and it kind of plays along the same thing with the music. If I'm a DJ and this gets more worldwide and more use, then I can see in more instant time, like who's playing what song is hot. All right, this song just got released. You know, is it hot? Like, okay, this Billboard mag is telling me it's hot, but I'm actually looking and I'm seeing there's only 3 transactions of the song in the past hour. It's not that hot, you know?
And so you can like if an artist is known for, I don't know, like Chance wearing a hat, right? You can literally issue that hat as sort of a digital collectible or non-fungible token, and you could use blockchain to create collectibles that own other collectibles, right? So we're starting to see that with, if you guys want to Google an application called CryptoKitties. So what people are doing is they're breeding digital cats, like Tamagotchis in the 90s, and then they're selling those cats online to other people. So the largest CryptoKitties transaction was a few $100,000. And like Skrilla was saying, like there's one person who has the first ever issued like CryptoKitty, and they're holding on to that, and it's very valuable. So just like wrapping your head around that idea, like fungible tokens, each dollar is the same as every other dollar. Non-fungible tokens, each one's different, like Supreme issuing 1 of 500.
That's what I was going to say. Can you imagine when a brand, as soon as a brand like Supreme does like, exactly, and it's going to happen at some point. I mean, I hate to mention the name Dodgers, the baseball team, because you guys are playing them, but they did exactly that. I mean, it's not as big a deal as Supreme doing it, but you know.
And marketing crypto collectibles to baseball fans is like not something you think is like an obvious thing. It's not, because baseball fans are generally older, not as, I don't know, maybe they're techier in LA, but they're not, I don't know, that's not the first group of people I market to, but that's what's happening. So
that's like the Wu-Tang album.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They sold one copy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people talk about the Wu-Tang album, if that was tokenized, NFT, all that stuff, it could have been a cool thing too. Mm-hmm. And you would see right now, does the FBI hold it or not? Is it in their wallet? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's supposedly FBI has it, right? So we don't know that, we're just assuming that. But on the blockchain, the FBI, you see the FBI's wallet and be like, it's in the wallet.
Also, you could, you know, when it moves, you can track that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Somebody sold that. Hugely valuable thing.
So blockchain gaming, that whole idea of like owning different cats and different stuff, that's sort of becoming a big thing. Another one I just found in Hong Kong is called crypto cars. So people are building their own cars and then racing them for pink slips online. So like this just really interesting ideas of like you can own your own thing and trade that value across the web. And those are interesting ways people are thinking about the non-fungible tokens.
And I know what he's talking about. That's the cool thing is you can make these tokens represent different things. So we have a song, right? It's a music token, okay?